Peace and Black Power family. This is your host, Rahiem Shabazz, and we are here for another episode of Necessary Blackness Podcast. And today, family, we have a special guest in the building. Our special guest is no other than Constance Carter, and she is a wealth activator, real estate maven, and she is the owner of Catalyst Real Estate Professionals, one of the largest Black-owned real estate firms in California. Ladies and gentlemen, this is her first time on the Necessary Blackness Podcast. How are you, my sister?
I am so honored to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm humbled. I'm honored. I'm excited. This is a long time coming, so I'm ready.
Yes, we have been planning this.
Yes.
And today, we manifested it and made it happen.
Yes, sir.
So my first question, we're going to get right down to it.
That's what's up.
Because we know that 80% of wealth that's generated in the world comes from real estate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is Necessary Blackness Podcast.
All right.
So I want you to tell me and to tell our listeners, how can Black Americans go from renters to investors as well as owners in the real estate game?
That's a very good question. And you know what? It's not as a monstrosity as people like to believe. Mm-hmm. First of all, you know, if you look at historically in this country, what we've been through, you know, predatory lending, redlining, Jim Crow, all of the things that we've been through. And so 43% of us are homeowners, which is dope for me. Right. So when you look at it overall, 70% of white people are homeowners, 43% of Black people are homeowners, which there's a disparity there. But in spite of everything that we've gone through, in spite of the predatory lending, the Jim Crow, the redlining, the discrimination, everything that they've done to block us, 43% of us are still homeowners. Now, you would think 95% of white people will be homeowners because they've had none of the same barriers that we've had.
Absolutely.
But it's only 70%. We've had to go through 500 years, 400 years of this insanity, and yet we've overcome that. So we are resilient people. I just want to say that first and foremost. Black people, we are a resilient people. So I want to just give us kudos for just being in the game of being homeowners, despite of what we've been through. But, you know, here's the thing. It's very simple. If you have a job and you've been working 2 years and you can pay somebody for housing, you could own a home. If your credit is challenged, guess what? There are vehicles out there that can help you. I got a book. I wrote a best-selling book based upon the fact that I had a 379 credit score and bankruptcy and had to overcome that. I have a book that's helped thousands of people. So credit is not like this big bad wolf, this boogeyman that a lot of people like to think. I've helped people get hundreds of points within 30 days. It's possible. So if you have a job, basically you can own a home. You need your two, and your two. I actually have a rap song called 222. That I'm look for it on iTunes, called 222 by the ladies of Catalyst. But you need your 2 years of tax returns, 2 years bank statements, and the last two check stubs. That's it.
And you can become a homeowner.
That simple. I mean, it sounds simple because really it is. I think the issue is sometimes people want more than what they can afford. You know, people be trying to buy the castle and the mansion the first time around, and sometimes that's not possible. But it's baby steps to get there. But anybody could buy a home if you have a job. Now,
you say some key things about what an individual has to have in order to acquire their first property, right? Now, I always hear that you must leverage your credit in order to get a loan for a house, or if you're going into business as an entrepreneur. Give me some examples of maybe how you leverage your credit, or just simply how one can leverage their credit in order to be a first-time homeowner or entrepreneur.
Okay, so credit is like king in life. Even for wealthy people are not using their own cash to buy anything. If you look at Donald Trump, the reason why he was able to file bankruptcy is because he had credit. If you look at Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, he talks about credit. He was talking about how he had gotten, you know, a $20 million credit to purchase something. These people have cash, but they're not going to leverage their own cash. When I'm flipping property, I'm not even if I have the cash to pay for the property, I'm not going to use my own cash. I'm not going to tie up my cash to invest in something else. So it's so important that we have credit, and it blows my mind that, you know, with all the financial literacy that we have, and things happen, like things happen, like something popped up on my credit just recently for an Airbnb that I have out in Arizona. And I was like, what? And so I had to send over a verification letter, and they had to send it back, and they had to remove it. But things pop up. Mm-hmm. But in this age, with all this information, it's really important that we're being responsible. It's really important that we're monitoring our credit. So utilize, you know, all these platforms like Credit Karma or TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian to make sure that you're monitoring your credit. But having good credit is important in every aspect, because you're going to need it in order to build wealth. Using OPM, other people's money.
Okay.
We don't want to use our own money.
We're
using other people's money, but the way we do that is having good credit. So if you don't have good credit, I got a best-selling book about good credit. I got a workbook about good credit. I have an online training platform to help you with your good credit. So there's like no excuse why you don't. And of course, there's free information out there on YouTube and everywhere else. I just make it really simple for you to digest and understand. But just make sure that you're taking care of that. Like if you're looking at your bank account every day, you should be looking at your credit every day.
Absolutely. Now you keep talking about this book. Promo. Drop it. What is the book? How can they get it?
Let me tell you something about this book. So I never in my life thought I was going to be an author. Like that was never on the horizon. I was a real estate broker. I never thought I was going to be a speaker. Somebody was like, you should speak. Do you speak? I was like, I do. Home buyer workshop. So all these things kind of came into kind of happenstance. But somebody was just like, everything I do is off the suggestion of somebody else. I'm not the big ideation person. Like I don't have these big ideas, but somebody said one day, you should write a book. And I was like, okay, that's how I do stuff. Somebody was like, you should have t-shirts. I was like, okay. You know, my coach was like, you should do, you know, something for this. And I was like, okay. So that's just kind of how it happened. And so I was so obsessed with credit, and like credit was my thing. And I used to do these things called credit parties, where it was like a Tupperware party where, you know, I would go to somebody's house. It'd be a nice intimate setting. People would come and they'd bring their friends. They'd have food, and I would teach them about credit. It was really great. And it was just really transformational. So I love credit so much. I would do that, or I'll put on credit expos and things like that. So somebody said, write a book about credit. Wrote a book about credit, sat down and wrote it, you know, within a matter of a couple weeks. And it went on to become a bestseller. So I didn't know what I was doing. In fact, the first version that I put out before I proofread it. And I was like mortified because people were just buying it. And then I was like, oh my God, there's so many errors and stuff. So I had to go back. But I did the book. It's a great book. I think it's written so simple that it should be in like high schools.
You gotta keep it so simple.
That's how,
Absolutely.
You know, it's like double spaced. I mean, you can sit down and read it in an hour, but it's changed so many people's lives. Credit's not complicated. It's really simple.
Absolutely.
You got to make things
simple. We talked about credit. We talked about being a first-time homeowner. I know we're going to try to breeze through some of the subject matter because you have a prior engagement and you was...
but I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying talking to you.
You blessed us, so I'm going to be respectful of your time, right?
It's all good.
Now, when we talk about wealth, right, you didn't have it easy. I was watching your TED Talk where you talked about the day that you was laid off was the day that your ex-husband was fired. So how was you able to bounce back and transition from that to become this multi-millionaire and run a successful real estate company?
It was just consistency and hunger, man. Like I'm just not afraid to just do stuff and look crazy, look foolish. You know, when I first started real estate, like I was driving people around in my Ford Windstar minivan that used to break down, door used to fly open, and I would have people in my car, door flying open, and I'm just embarrassed and like, oh my God. But, you know, I just went for it. I didn't have the best clothes. I didn't have the best car. I just was hungry. And I had one child at the time when I first started. I have 4 now, but I had one child, and I was just like, I got to be able to pay for daycare and diapers. Like, so it was just really that hunger, and then just being consistent. When I have the same spreadsheet that I had since 2002 when I started. And when I look at my spreadsheet, I calculate all my money. So January, because I got my license in December. So January, money going out, no money coming in. February, money going out, no money coming in. March, April, May. I didn't start making money until June.
Okay.
So but I'm investing in myself. I'm putting money that I don't even have into the business. You know, I'm getting a small stipend of unemployment at this point.
Are you leveraging your credit too? Credit cards?
At that point, I wasn't, because I didn't know the benefit of it. So I didn't even have credit cards like that. I was just
so you really was getting it out of the mug.
I'm trying to tell you, I was bootstrapping like a mug. So, but by June, I started making money, and then all the work had paid off, and from June to December, I made about $70,000. But I never made under six figures after that ever. But it was just that consistency and that hunger, man.
They say that there's a generational curse when it comes to economic prosperity for us as a people. What are some of the key things we can do as far as investments, trust, wills for us to get ahead of the curve?
So first, I want to say the generational curse is the system, right?
Okay.
Is white supremacy, is white privilege. That's the generational curse. It's not us. It's not anything that we did. It's what they've done. Now, there are definitely some habits that we can change, that we should change as a people. You know how we like to look fly. We like to look like we got when we don't. But we definitely, real estate being 80% of wealth in this country is generated through real estate. So that's the first thing that we need to do is we need to invest in real estate. Make sure your investments are good investments. The second thing we need to do is we need to diversify our portfolio, invest in other things that generate some type of return on your investment, which is stock, something that generates compound interest. I was yesterday I did my collective, my Net 7 collective, which is where I'm helping 100 Black women increase their net worth to $1 million. And right before I got on there, I checked my bank account, and $25,000 was missing. And I was like, I almost fainted, right? And I was like, what in the world? And so I'm like, oh my God, somebody didn't scam me. Somebody took 25. And I forgot that I had got with this company that I had wanted to invest in something that generated compound interest. Totally forgot. I don't even remember giving my bank account information, to be honest with you, but I must have given it to him. And so that's what ended up happening. I said that to say that because I have a marijuana dispensary, and some of my money I just keep cash because it was a cash business. Yes. Cash is doing nothing for me. So instead of having this cash laying around, I said, let me take some of it and put it in the bank. And putting in the bank is not a good investment, but I got it out of my house, which is the bottom line. And I put it into a vehicle. I put some of it into a vehicle to generate compound interest, because the Rockefellers did it. Ray Kroc of McDonald's did it. Most wealthy people, they use compound interest. They call compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. So if you're putting your money into a bank, you're going to triple the amount if you put it in a vehicle that's going to generate compound interest for you. And so that's what we need to start doing, is looking at these vehicles like some permanent life insurance policies where you can get the compound interest and the cash value, and it's not tied to the stock market where it's not going to be affected when the economy drops. So,
and you're not taxed on it.
Come on now.
You'll always win.
You winning. Like,
what you call that? You call that the eighth wonder of the world?
It's the eighth wonder of the world.
Oh man.
Why not? Like, but this is what they doing, and this is what we not doing.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you just joining us, we're talking to Constance Carter.
Yes, sir.
She just dropped the jewel on the eighth wonder of the world. We're about to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about FHA 203K.
Woo.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Rahiem Shabazz, and you're tuned in to Necessary Blackness Podcast. Let's get it. Let's go.
Necessary Blackness Podcast is independently owned, and we do not accept sponsorship dollars from corporations. We are supported by the people such as yourself who know that in war, the first casualty is the truth. We are at war with racism and white supremacy. We must continue to tell the truth. Support us by purchasing your Necessary Blackness t-shirt by sending an email to necessaryblacknesspodcast@gmail.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back from our quick commercial break. And for those that are just joining us, we is here. I was going to say we are here.
No, we is here.
We is here.
Come on.
With Constance Carter.
Yes, sir.
And she
Nobody works harder.
The 8 wonders of the world. She was hipping us on credit. What do you need to become a first-time home owner? And so I want to pivot to the secret behind FHA 203K.
Okay.
And it's a construction loan. And from what I'm hearing, it can help renters become investors. Mm-hmm. Can you break that down?
Well, so the FHA 203K loan, well, first of all, this is an owner-occupied loan. So you need to occupy this property. But the great thing about this product is it allows you to rehab the property and it finances. You could finance it. So say the home you buy is $150,000. We know ain't no homes $150,000, and maybe there's $50,000 in renovations. Well, they will finance $50,000 in there, and you could do anything. You could build a pool. You could build another story, like whatever you want to do, as long as the value of the house appraises for the amount that you finance. You can do whatever you want to do with this loan. It's really great loan. The issue that we've been seeing, in the last several years, because we used to do them a lot years ago, a few years back, there are so many investors that are in the market that are, when you have, because these properties are really good in a buyer's market, right? So when houses are sitting on the market a little bit longer and there's not a whole lot of buyer competition and things like that. So these loans are great because, it gives people an opportunity to purchase a home that might be a little dilapidated and they could do something with it. When you have a challenge where there's limited inventory and there's investors, well, now you're competing with the investors. And so 203K loans, they take anywhere between 45 days and 60 days at minimum to close. Well, if you got an investor that's going to come and close in 10 days, what offer is the seller going to take?
The 10 days.
Of course. So these loans are great and they work. They definitely work. They're just not as prevalent as they are when the market is a buyer's market. So they
How
work
hard
better.
Is it to get it?
It's not hard at all to get it.
It's just a lot of people don't know about it.
A lot of people don't know about it. And then it's also finding the property, right? Because like I said, when you have a property that's dilapidated in that way, you have a lot of investors in this particular market that are buying stuff, paying cash, or they're getting a hard money loan and they can close relatively quickly. So it's just the only challenge. I mean, it's a great loan. The only challenge is the competition.
Now, let me ask you something. You said it has to be owners occupied. So the owner has to occupy it.
So if you buy this property, because it's an FHA loan, it's a government loan. You can't buy a government loan and be and not live in the property. So this is specifically for you to purchase this property to live in. Now you're going to have to live in this property for a year and then you could, rent it out. You don't have to stay in it the entire time.
All right. I've been hearing from other individuals, right? Like, if you're looking to make money and not just be a homeowner, but there's a way that you could not only be a homeowner, but also get a return on your investment by dealing with duplex and quadplex. Tell me about that. Okay.
I love multi-units. Yeah. So duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, those are all multi-units. And you could actually use an FHA loan to purchase those.
You can use the FHA.
You do the 203K or a regular FHA loan. So the great thing about an FHA or the 203K is you only put 3.5% down, and that's the beauty of it. So
they got programs that help you with your down payment too.
You can get down payment assistance, and those are typically through the counties, the cities, or things like that, or they're lenders that have down payment assistance also that can go along with it. But 3.5% down, which could be minimal. If you're talking $300,000 house, maybe $9,000 down. Something like that. But you can get in the home. You could buy a duplex, fourplex. The great thing about buying a multi-unit is, say you don't have enough money, your income is not enough to qualify. Well, say you buy a triplex. Yeah. There's 2 other units that are occupied. You could use a rent from those 2 units to help you qualify for that. They'll take into account those 2 other units that'll help you qualify. Wow. Also, those 2 other units could actually be paying your mortgage. So you may not have to even have a mortgage to pay. So that's a great loan. I've been hearing a lot of people talking about the debt service, the DSCR loan, which is a a no income loan, a stated income or no income. You don't have to have any income to purchase a property.
And what's that called?
A DSCR loan, a debt service something ratio loan.
And that's for people that don't look like us.
Nope, that's for people who look like us too.
Well, why we don't know about it?
So here's the thing about the debt service loan. So here are the qualifications, because it's you don't have to have no income, but you do got to have some money. They're not really credit focused, but you got to have money. So the property has to have some kind of operating income. So
like, say if you had bought land and it had a farm on it.
Mm-hmm. And the farm was yielding something.
Yeah.
What they yield has to be double of what they're paying. So, for example, say your mortgage payment all in with taxes, insurance, everything is $2,000 per month. They need to be making $4,000 a month in income in order for them to fund the loan.
You can do that with chicken eggs.
Boom, right? That's number one. Number two is for investors. So this is not an owner-occupied loan. Mm-hmm. Number three, you got to have some skin in the game. So you got to put 20% down. Okay. And number four, there is a prepayment penalty. So if you pay it off too soon, then you'll be penalized. And these are like private money loans or hard money loans. So I use hard money loans when I'm flipping property. Yeah. So, but when I'm flipping property, I got to put 20% down. You got to have some skin in the game. So if you ain't stating no income, you got to put more money down.
Explain to me, why is there a penalty if you pay it off quicker? Wouldn't they want you to pay it off quicker?
No, they want to get that interest. So these, they take a high risk in you not having no income stated, right? And this is really for people that got income, but they don't claim no income. So either you're going to have to claim it on the front or the back, right? So say, a lot of entrepreneurs, they don't claim a lot of income.
Trap stars.
Right.
Yeah.
We try not to, right? Because we don't, we don't want the government to see how much money we're making. So if you don't claim income, so for example, me being an entrepreneur, say I don't want to claim as much income, there are programs that will allow me to use my bank statements or state my income, but I'm gonna have to put more down. I'm not gonna be able to use a 3.5% loan. I'm gonna have to put more money down. The interest rate is gonna be a little bit higher, but I don't have to show my income. So either you're going to have to pay the government. You're going to have to pay more down. Either or. But you can't have both. You can't get a 3.5% down and not show no income.
Wow. See, family, when you know these type of things, you're able to maneuver and get to where you're going. Yeah. But it's always someone out there that knows more than us. Yeah. And that's why it's good to have a real estate broker. Yeah. Or a realtor that you can go to. Absolutely. And get this thing done. So my last question to you is...
Last question? I'm just getting started.
All right. Well, we're going to keep it going.
All right, let's roll.
When you hear that it would take 228 years for the average black person to catch up to the average white person, what comes to mind?
I get angry at the system, at white supremacy. Because they put us in this position. We didn't get to this position by ourselves. I did a TED Talk. It's called Google That Shit. But it's talking about the wealth gap, and it's talking about how we've gotten to this place and space. When I talk about that a lot, when I talk about, black spending power, a lot of people will come and say, well, we like to wear our money, and we do. Like, when you ain't never had nothing, we want to show people that we got. That's not the smartest thing to do. I'm from the Silicon Valley, where you could be sitting next to a billionaire and not even know it because they're going to wear a hoodie and some Crocs. Like they not flossing like that. And that's old money. That's that mentality. We haven't had money like that. So when we get it, we like to show it. We got to get out of that. And so hopefully we'll get that shit out of our system. But systemically, we've been put in this position. We just have, and it drives me crazy because they tell us you should pick yourself up like by your bootstraps, like the Asians have, and like the Hispanic. We haven't, when you talk about reparations and when you talk about all the things that they've done to us, why did the Japanese get reparations? Because they were in an internment camp for a couple weeks. Like, why did they get money? Yeah. Why are you helping the Jews get money? Oh, don't say the J word, but why are you helping the Jews get their reparations? It didn't even happen on this soil.
Absolutely.
But yet you can brutalize us. For how many years did you say? 120
Over 256 years.
256 years.
Yeah.
Right. Then after that, how many years were we brutalized with the system of racism and Jim Crow after that?
Too many years.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but we can't you got $16 trillion in free labor, but we can't get a piece of the pie.
You know what's very telling? You said that 70% of white people own their homes, right? Mm-hmm. It should be 100%.
You would think.
Being that they had the Homestead Act.
Correct.
Where they got millions of acres of land.
For free.
For free.
Yes.
No down payment, no 3%.
Right. So they've gotten all of these privileges, and then they tell us that we need to pick ourselves up by our bootstraps, that we spending our money frivolously. Dr. Phil said if we got reparations, it will be disastrous. F Dr. Phil with that bullshit, right?
And then, I do get it where they said that we spend our money frivolously, right? But listen to this, right? It's in our nature to be flashy and fly, right? Mm-hmm. When we say that, we kings and queens, we know that we, wore silk robes and slippers of gold and was the richest people to ever be untold.
Right.
You know what I mean? So why should we dumb it down? You know what I mean? It's just like, do what you do.
Right.
But you got to be constantly getting that bag.
Right.
And how you was talking about, you got to invest in stuff that's compound interest.
Right.
You got to have residual income.
That's right.
And if you read the book, The Millionaire Next Door, it tells you the average millionaire got 7 streams of income. How many you got?
Probably 8.
8? Oh,
easily.
Man, she's out doing it, y'all.
Well, I mean, you got to. Listen, the Bible says, Ecclesiastes 11:2 said, have 7. Then it said, no, 8 in case a disaster strikes the land. What happened in 2020?
Disaster struck the land.
Come on, son. If you didn't have no other streams of income, like me moving. So last year was the worst year of my life, right? I got divorced. I closed 2 of my offices and I moved to the East Coast. So I lost $1 million in revenue last year. If I didn't have other revenue streams, I wouldn't be in DC right now. Okay. I wouldn't be here right now. Yeah. I wouldn't be able to still move like I do. So it's so important. Like if you need to make a life transition or you just want to have the financial freedom, I have never slowed down. I lost $1 million of revenue last year. I was still in Aruba. I was still in Panama, right? Because the money didn't stop. Yeah. Just that source stopped, but I had other sources coming in. Okay. But when you go back to talking about how long is it going to take us to catch up with these white folks?
It's at 228 years.
And where was this statistic brought from?
This was talking about the wealth gap in order for us to catch up.
How long ago was this article?
This was within a year.
So I think what they hadn't considered was the power of the internet. Absolutely. I think that can level the playing field because
AI.
Come on, AI. Because really no longer do we have to go in and ask these white people for money. Mm-hmm. And, were they giving the other white people a handshake? Mm-hmm. And they looking at you and they like, if you don't get your black ass about this bank. No longer do we got to beg anybody for anything. No longer do we have to have a brick and mortar. Mm-hmm. No longer do we have to overextend ourselves. We can use... I interviewed Michael V. Roberts. He's one of the black billionaires. He said something so poignant. He said, we have more technology in the palm of our hands than when they put the man on the moon.
That's right.
We got more technology with our phones than they had when they so when black people get smart and we start using this technology, which levels the playing field, I don't really believe that 228 years. I don't believe that has to be our story.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is a myth. It ain't going to be 228 years. I'm going on record saying it's going to be 228 days. 228 days. Because you're right. Like how you say, there's no more brick and mortar. It's click and order.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That part.
We doing it
we
totally
getting our bag.
Different. But listen, we got to get up out of here. I don't want to keep
you. Good.
But I want you to promise me something.
What's up?
That this is not going to be the first and last time.
I'm having so much fun engaging with you today. This is you're brilliant. I love your platform. I love everything that you post. You are unapologetically Black.
Absolutely.
And I love being around all this Black excellence. So you are the epitome of Black excellence, and I love it.
I appreciate that. Now, in closing, is there anything that I didn't ask you that I should have asked you, or that you want to say in your last closing words?
I want to say this. So, my passion has always been about helping people. That's just what I do. My purpose was helping people to create generational wealth through real estate. My mission and my purpose has shifted a little bit. My passion is still helping people, but my purpose is still helping people. My passion now is helping Black women. When we talk about closing the wealth gap, I really believe it takes a Black woman to close the wealth gap, or Black women.
Talk that talk.
Come on now. When there's a saying that if you give a woman some food, she's going to make a meal. If you give her a house, she's going to make a home. Right. And so I believe if you give a Black woman some financial knowledge, it's going to change the generation. It's going to change the game. And so how do we close the wealth gap? For me, my contribution is through Black women.
Okay.
And so my goal is to help 100 Black women increase their net worth by $1 million in 2023. And that's what I'm doing. So I've started this cohort called the Net7 Collective, where I just want to help Black women. And I help them in the 5 most important areas of their life, the credit, the income, and all that stuff. But mindset, I help them build businesses. And then most importantly, because one of the things, I interviewed 70 women for my initial cohort. And two of the things that they said that were blocking them from getting ahead is, one, they don't know how to get there. And number 2, they don't have accountability. They need somebody to kick them in the pants. Well, you have the accountability with our cohort of women. You have me, you have the other women, because I'm building this solid community of boss Black women who are forward thinking. But the other thing is I give them a wealth map at the end that gives them the step-by-step instructions based upon what we've gathered throughout the cohort. How did we get there? Okay, you said you want to make $1 million. You said you want to start this business. You want to do this. You want to do that. Here's the step-by-step instructions. And I give it to them in a tangible way that it takes the guesswork out of it. You follow this blueprint, you're going to reach your goals.
Now, everybody's going to want to know, how can I be a part of this cohort?
Yeah.
Now, I know you said that you interviewed them. So is there a rigorous process that they must go through? Because we got to separate the wheat from the shaft.
Yeah.
We got to get to those, we got to say, listen, this is where the rubber meets the road.
Absolutely.
And only those that are serious is going to go beyond this point.
Right.
So what's the process, and how can people contact you so they could get involved?
So there is an application on my website, constancecarter.com/net7 collective, or you can go to constancecarter.com, click on Net7 Collective. So that'll schedule, I'll get an application, then we'll schedule an interview. Then we'll just have a conversation and we'll see if this is the right fit. Some of the people, everybody that I've interviewed wanted to be a part of it.
Okay.
Everybody didn't have the capacity to be a part of it. And then there were some people where I had to turn down. I remember my daughter was right there. She was like, Mom, I felt so sorry for that lady. And I'm like, she wasn't ready.
Yeah.
I want people who are so passionate about making a transformation in their life. I don't want you to do it if you just if it works, it works. No. I need you to be so sold out to want to make this change in your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'm going to be pouring everything into you, and I want you to be able to do that too.
And it's going to be 70 individuals?
100.
100.
I interviewed 70 for my inaugural cohort, and I selected 20.
Okay, so listen, man, it's a process of elimination. This is like Hunger Games over here.
So the second cohort, we're starting in August, and I'm taking applications for that now.
Yo, you know what? It's good that you do that, but I'm sitting here because if it was something like that for men, I'll be on it.
Yeah.
Where can I find this for the brothers?
You should start it for the brothers. What you mean?
Well, you're going to have to give me the blueprint.
I got you. You
got me?
You start the brothers need it, because brothers is like, hey, can I get in it too? There actually is another program. It's a membership community that I have for everybody. This is Black, white, Hispanic, male, female, boy, girl, dog, or whomever can pay $49 a month.
Oh.
And it's a community that I just rolled out last week. And it's similar in that it's not as intense, but you'll be getting all of my content. We'll have experts every month that'll come in, that'll teach. But it's called the Gym Club, the Grow Your Money Club. GYM, Grow Your Money. because I always talk about how to grow your money and not blow your money. So that is for everybody, and everybody can be a part of that.
All right, I'm definitely going to have to check that out.
Yeah,
I know y'all going to be checking it out. One more time, drop your social media and where people can find you and reach you at.
Follow me. I need to get my Instagram up at I am Constance Carter, and then Facebook I am Constance Carter, and then YouTube be trying to play me out though, because they don't be giving me no views, they don't be giving me no love. But please subscribe to my YouTube channel at CC the CEO, and then me and Boyce, we doing some things on Fly Nubian Queen.
Okay.
So we partnered, and we about to do some really, really great things. So I'm excited about that too. We about to change the game.
That's what it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is Rahiem Shabazz. And for those that are just tuning in, you better go back. You better rewind this all the way to the beginning where she was talking about wealth management, how to acquire property from being a first-time home owner. We talked about FHA 203K and so much more. So stay tuned. Necessary Blackness, Rahiem Shabazz, Constance Carter.
Let's go.
Let's go. Peace.
Necessary Blackness Podcast is independently owned, and we do not accept sponsorship dollars from corporations. We are supported by the people such as yourself who know that in war, the first casualty is the truth. We are at war with racism and white supremacy. We must continue to tell the truth. Support us by purchasing your Necessary Blackness t-shirt by sending an email to necessaryblacknesspodcast@gmail.com.